Archangel Michael says, "A divine blessing is moving gently from the heart of heaven, prepared to touch the depths of your life with love and grace, and this blessing is unlike anything you have carried before because it is filled with God's joy over the kindness that flows from you to others, for your compassion has not gone unnoticed in the eyes of the Father. And the heavens are opening wide to release a transformation that will surround you in a way that will change your path completely and fill your days with light." Type 1111 if you agree. When God looks upon a heart that serves, a spirit that uplifts, and hands that comfort those who walk in sorrow, His delight overflows like a river that cannot be contained, and the angels move in harmony with His will to bring gifts beyond human understanding, gifts that carry both healing and peace, and these gifts are woven with eternal love that speaks directly into the deepest corners of the soul, awakening a new hope that will carry you even when the world feels heavy. Your faith has been seen like a candle that refuses to fade in the darkness, and even when storms surrounded you, you did not turn away, for you believed that God's hand was still upon you, and because of this, a shift is coming that will not only lift your spirit but will also pour into your surroundings, touching your family, your work, and your silent prayers that only heaven has heard. And this shift will become a living testimony that God is close and that His mercy has no boundaries. Archangel Michael watches as the heavenly gates open, and he whispers to your soul that the time has arrived when your tears will no longer water the ground of despair but will instead become seeds of joy, growing into gardens of blessings that will overflow, and you will look back with wonder at how God took what seemed broken and turned it into something strong and radiant, showing you that every act of kindness and every quiet sacrifice has prepared you for this very moment of divine outpouring. The blessing being released is not ordinary, for it is crafted in heaven's design with threads of protection, healing, and divine favor, and it is meant to cover your journey like a cloak that shields from harm and draws you closer to the warmth of God's presence. And as this blessing descends upon you, you will notice that the weight on your shoulders begins to ease, and the fears that once whispered loudly in your heart will lose their power as peace settles like a gentle dawn over your life. Type Amen if you believe. Do not think for a moment that your struggles were ignored, for every pain, every trial, and every sleepless night was gathered in the hands of God, and He has shaped them into something beautiful, using them as soil where the blessing now takes root, and soon you will see that nothing has been wasted, for even your scars will shine as reminders of where you once were and how far His love has carried you, and through it all, your spirit will be renewed with a joy that cannot be shaken. This is not simply a season of change, it is a sacred turning point where heaven itself has chosen to align with your journey, and every prayer you whispered in faith has risen like incense before God's throne, becoming part of the reason this blessing is being poured out, because He delights in rewarding faith that holds on even in silence, and He rejoices in the soul that gives when it has little, for He sees the heart and not the measure, and He is releasing to you more than you ever thought to ask. Archangel Michael says, "Before the midnight hour passes, let your heart remain open to receive, for the streams of God's goodness are flowing even now into the corners of your life, carrying away despair, lifting burdens that seemed immovable, and filling you with strength to rise. And as you step forward, know that the love of Christ surrounds you as an endless embrace, assuring you that this blessing is real, that heaven has seen your light, and that from this moment forward, your life will no longer be the same." Archangel Michael says, "The heavens are moving with great tenderness, and a stream of divine favor is flowing like golden light into the places of your life that once felt dry and forgotten, and this light is not an ordinary light but the very breath of God, wrapping around your heart to remind you that His joy overflows when He sees you standing in kindness, sharing goodness, and refusing to let the weight of the world harden your spirit, for you have been chosen as one of His beloved vessels, through which His mercy shines." Every act of love you offered, even the smallest ones, has been recorded in the eternal memory of heaven, and though you may have thought they were unseen or unnoticed, the truth is that angels gathered them as precious treasures, presenting them before God, and now the reward of your quiet sacrifices is returning to you multiplied, not as fleeting gifts that fade but as lasting blessings that transform your path, blessings that lift your soul and carry you into a future filled with hope. Type 1919 if you believe healing is yours. There were nights when you questioned your worth, when loneliness whispered to your heart and the shadows tried to convince you that you were forgotten, yet even then the Lord walked beside you, holding your hand in ways you did not perceive, and it was in those very moments of weakness that your faith shone brightest, for you chose to trust even when the answers did not come, and that trust has become the foundation upon which this heavenly gift is being poured into your life. Archangel Michael speaks with authority from the throne of God, telling you that the blessing arriving now is not meant to touch only one corner of your life but to surround the entirety of your being, reaching into your relationships, your health, your dreams, and even the desires you buried deep within your heart, and as this blessing flows, you will feel the gentle touch of restoration mending what was broken, strengthening what was fragile, and awakening the parts of your soul that longed to breathe again. God is truly delighted with you, not because you lived without mistakes, but because your heart remained humble, always willing to return, always ready to love, and it is this humility that has drawn heaven close to you, for the Father treasures a heart that bends in surrender more than riches or crowns, and He has chosen this time to reward you with favor that cannot be earned, a favor that is freely given because of His unending love, and you will carry this gift as a sign of His nearness. There is a river of healing within this blessing, and it will flow into every area where pain has lingered too long, washing away the stains of sorrow and the scars of past wounds, and as it moves through you, it will not only bring comfort but also renew your strength, filling you with courage to step into new seasons with confidence, knowing that you do not walk alone but are surrounded by angels who guard your steps and by a Father who delights in your every move forward. Archangel Michael reminds you that this blessing is also a shield, a covering of divine protection, ensuring that no weapon formed against you will succeed, and though challenges may still arise, they will not hold power over you, for the hand of God will lift you above them, carrying you through storms with peace, guiding you through confusion with clarity, and surrounding you with His light so that no darkness can overtake you. And in this covering you will find rest like never before. As you open your heart to receive, let gratitude flow from your lips like a melody that rises to heaven, for thanksgiving unlocks even more of the treasure God longs to give, and as you live in this spirit of gratitude, you will find that doors once closed will begin to open, opportunities will rise in unexpected places, and people will be drawn to the light within you. For the blessing released upon your life will shine so brightly that others will feel its warmth and come to know the love of God through your story. Archangel Michael says, The blessing being released into your life is not only a moment of favor but a sacred turning point where God Himself is declaring that your journey will no longer be defined by the weight of past struggles, for He is rewriting the chapters of your story with pages filled with joy, peace, and divine restoration, and this blessing will reach into places you once thought were lost, breathing new life into them and showing you that nothing is ever beyond the reach of His love. Type 1818 to claim miracles and breakthroughs. For every silent tear you shed in the stillness of the night, heaven has poured out compassion, and for every time you extended kindness even when your own heart was weary, God has stored those moments as seeds that are now blossoming into a harvest of blessings that cannot be measured by human hands, and as this harvest unfolds, you will see how deeply the Father has valued your faithfulness, rewarding you not only for what you did but for the love with which you carried it. Archangel Michael assures you that this blessing is layered with more than one gift, for it carries strength for your body, renewal for your mind, comfort for your heart, and light for your path, and it will reveal itself in ways both gentle and powerful, sometimes in the quiet peace that settles over you like a calm sunrise, and sometimes in the bold shifts that move obstacles out of your way with the force of heaven's authority, all reminding you that God is alive in every step you take. There were moments when you thought your prayers dissolved into silence, when you felt your voice was too small to be heard by the Creator of the universe, but every word was treasured, every cry was received, and each one rose like fragrance before His throne, and now, in His perfect timing, He is answering with a blessing so profound that it will heal those places of doubt, leaving you in awe of how attentive and personal His love truly is, wrapping you in assurance that you were never overlooked. God's delight in you is like a song that resounds through eternity, a melody of joy because He sees the heart that chooses to love, the soul that does not give up, and the spirit that reaches out to others even in its own pain, and because of this, heaven celebrates you, calling you precious, cherished, and deeply loved, and it is this love that has drawn down the rivers of blessing that will now overflow into every corner of your days, filling them with color, hope, and new beginnings. Archangel Michael speaks of a transformation that will touch not only your outer life but also the deepest layers of your inner being, where old fears have dwelt and where silent burdens have lingered too long, and as this blessing moves within you, those fears will lose their grip, the burdens will lift, and your soul will feel lighter, freer, and more aligned with the peace of Christ, who carries you always in His embrace, guiding you with compassion and surrounding you with unshakable love. The path ahead may not always be free from challenges, but this blessing equips you with resilience that surpasses human strength, with clarity that reveals hidden opportunities, and with favor that positions you for doors to open at the right time, and though difficulties may still whisper, they will no longer have the power to define you, for the hand of God will be visible in the victories you will walk into. Victories that will not only bless you but inspire others who see His light shining through you. Type 1717 to affirm your life is in God's hands. Archangel Michael says, "Listen closely before midnight, for this is not simply a passing word but a living promise, a call from heaven reminding you that now is the moment to embrace what God has prepared, and as you allow your heart to receive, let your spirit rise in gratitude and quiet awe, knowing that your life is being wrapped in a divine gift, one that will remain with you always, lifting you into new heights of joy, anchoring you in peace, and reminding you daily that you are deeply loved and chosen by God. Archangel Michael says, "The blessing flowing from heaven is arriving like a river that has been hidden beneath the earth, waiting for the moment when God would command it to rise and water the dry places of your life, and now that river is breaking forth, flooding every area with refreshment, renewal, and a beauty that only heaven can give. For this is the hour when God's delight in you becomes visible in ways that cannot be denied, and His joy over your heart pours out as gifts that will forever change your days." The Father has seen the moments when you chose compassion instead of anger, when you lifted others even though your own soul was weary, and when you offered love quietly without seeking recognition, and He treasures those moments more than gold, for they shine as reflections of His own heart, and now those hidden acts of goodness are returning to you as blessings multiplied beyond measure, carrying restoration into places you thought would never heal and filling your life with abundance that flows from His endless grace. Archangel Michael whispers that this blessing carries within it a promise of deep healing, not only for your body but also for the wounds of your spirit, for the times when betrayal left you broken, for the nights when sorrow stole your rest, and for the seasons when hope seemed too far away. And as this blessing unfolds, those wounds will no longer hold you captive, because the love of Christ is entering those very places, transforming scars into strength and sorrow into testimonies of God's faithfulness. God's happiness with you is not because of perfection, but because you chose to keep believing, even when doubts rose like storms, and because you carried kindness when bitterness tried to take root, and this brings delight to His heart. For your faith has become a fragrance in His presence, and as a response, He is surrounding you with favor that will follow you wherever you go, favor that will open doors that once remained shut, and favor that will lift you into a season of breakthrough where nothing is withheld from His children. Type Amen if you surrender fully to God's will. There is a new peace being wrapped around you, a peace so steady that no fear will be able to shake it, a peace so deep that it will carry you through every uncertain path with strength and quietness of spirit, and this peace is a gift woven into the blessing, meant to still your heart when storms rise, meant to calm your mind when thoughts grow heavy, and meant to assure you daily that you are being held, guided, and carried by the hands of a God whose love cannot fail. Archangel Michael speaks of a light that will now shine more brightly within you, a light that is not your own but is the reflection of heaven resting upon your life, and those around you will begin to notice the warmth of this light, feeling comfort in your presence and hope in your words, because the blessing you are receiving is not only for you but also for those who will be touched through you, as God uses your journey as a testimony of His goodness and as a vessel for His healing love. The transformation being released into your life will be steady yet undeniable, and though it may not all unfold at once, each step will reveal more of heaven's plan, with small victories building into greater triumphs, and each answered prayer opening the way for even more, until you see clearly that nothing was ever delayed but rather prepared for this very moment, and in that realization, you will find joy rising within you like a dawn that cannot be hidden, assuring you that God's timing is always perfect. Archangel Michael says, "Before midnight, lift your heart with gratitude, for the blessing is already on its way, and though your eyes may not yet see its fullness, your spirit will soon recognize its presence, and you will walk into a season where burdens grow lighter, hope grows stronger, and faith becomes unshakable, and in that season, you will know with certainty that heaven has smiled upon you, that God is truly delighted in your life, and that His love has forever marked you as chosen, cherished, and deeply blessed. Archangel Michael says, "The blessing that is now unfolding over your life is like a sunrise after a long night, for it does not arrive in silence without meaning but comes with the gentle assurance that God has chosen this very moment to reveal His goodness to you, and as the light of this blessing spreads, every shadow that once tried to cover your joy will begin to fade, leaving behind a horizon filled with hope, renewal, and the certainty that you are deeply loved by the one who formed you. God has watched you walk through valleys where the weight of sorrow pressed heavily upon your shoulders, and even then, when no one else saw your quiet tears, He was there, carrying you when your own strength failed, whispering peace into your spirit when fear tried to silence your faith, and now He has declared that the season of heaviness must end, for the blessing He releases is filled with freedom, breaking the chains of worry, lifting despair from your heart, and guiding you into a place of rest that cannot be taken from you. Type 1515 to receive peace in your soul today. Archangel Michael speaks of a joy that will soon rise within you like a fountain, not a fleeting joy that fades with circumstances, but a lasting joy that is anchored in the presence of God, for this blessing carries with it the power to restore laughter to your days, to bring healing to places that once felt empty, and to fill your spirit with strength so enduring that no trial will be able to take away the peace that flows through your soul like living water. The Father delights in you, not because of wealth, fame, or outward success, but because of the beauty of your heart, a heart that gives, forgives, and continues to shine even after being wounded, and it is this heart that has touched heaven, drawing down blessings that are too great to be measured, blessings that will not only transform your present but also shape your future into something far greater than you imagined. For God's dreams for you are always higher than the dreams you hold for yourself. Archangel Michael reminds you that the blessing is not arriving as a single gift, but as a covering of abundance that will follow you into every part of your life, touching your relationships with healing, touching your work with favor, touching your mind with clarity, and touching your spirit with the assurance that you are never alone, for God walks with you daily, and His angels encamp around you, ensuring that no force of darkness can succeed against the one who carries heaven's light. This blessing also carries strength, and it will awaken courage within you, courage to rise after every fall, courage to step through doors that once seemed too heavy to open, and courage to believe in the goodness of God even when circumstances try to speak otherwise, for His love will prove greater than every obstacle, and His hand will lift you into a place where victories come not from striving but from resting in His grace and trusting in the power of His unfailing promises. Archangel Michael says that you are stepping into a season where the work of your hands will be blessed, where the kindness you sowed in hidden places will now bloom into visible harvest, and where the prayers you thought were forgotten will suddenly bear fruit in ways so beautiful that you will stand in awe. For God has never ignored your faith, He has simply been preparing the right time to release all that He planned, and now that time has arrived, bringing with it favor that will surround you like a shield. So before midnight, let your soul be still and open, for the heavens are pouring out treasures upon you, treasures not of gold or silver but of peace, strength, and endless love, treasures that will guide your steps and protect your heart, and as you move forward, you will see how this blessing is not only meant for your own life but also as a light that will flow through you to others, allowing the love of God to touch many through your journey, reminding the world that His mercy never fails, and His promises never break. Archangel Michael says, "The blessing that is descending upon your life is like a great wind carrying the fragrance of heaven, sweeping through the weary corners of your soul and filling them with strength, peace, and renewal that you have long prayed for, and as this wind moves, it carries away the weight of old sorrows and replaces them with a freshness that awakens your heart to hope again, showing you that the Father delights in bringing beauty out of brokenness and joy out of pain." Type 1414 if you believe in divine protection. God has chosen this moment to reveal how deeply He has been working behind the scenes, arranging details that you could not see, guiding your steps even when the path felt uncertain, and protecting you from battles that never reached you because His hand was already there. And this blessing is proof that nothing in your journey has been wasted, for every tear watered seeds of faith, every trial built resilience in your spirit, and every moment of trust, even in silence, prepared the ground for the harvest you are about to walk into. Archangel Michael speaks of healing flowing into the deepest places of your being, touching not only the visible wounds but also the hidden aches that you carried quietly, for God does not overlook the burdens you tried to bear alone, and in this blessing, He brings comfort to those hidden spaces, lifting the silent weight from your chest and wrapping you in His presence until you know without doubt that you are safe, cherished, and fully embraced by His unending love. The Father is rejoicing over the goodness in you, over the way you have chosen to keep kindness alive even when the world gave you reasons to close your heart, and because of that choice, Heaven is answering with treasures of peace that will surround you in days to come, treasures that will remind you daily that you are not walking by chance but under the careful guidance of the One who holds your destiny. And those treasures will become your strength as you continue to shine His light in a world that needs it desperately. Archangel Michael reminds you that this blessing carries divine favor, and favor will go before you like a shield, opening doors that seemed locked, bringing opportunities you did not expect, and connecting you with the right people at the right time, for when God is pleased with His children, He makes their path straight and surrounds them with goodness, and this season will prove that the hand of the Almighty is resting on you, guiding you into places of breakthrough that you could never have reached on your own. This blessing is also a covering of peace for your home, filling the walls around you with harmony, removing the heaviness that once lingered in silence, and replacing it with a stillness that carries the warmth of God's presence. And as that peace settles, you will notice how even the smallest details of your daily life begin to shift, for the love of Christ touches not only the great battles but also the little moments, ensuring that every part of your journey is cared for and wrapped in His grace. Archangel Michael says the transformation is not only for your spirit but also for your vision of the future, for where you once saw uncertainty, you will begin to see clarity, and where you once feared disappointment, you will begin to feel courage, because the blessing is awakening your ability to dream again, to believe again, and to walk boldly into tomorrow with the assurance that God is with you and that His plans are not to harm you but to prosper you and give you a hope-filled end. Type 555 to receive blessings and miracles. So before the midnight hour passes, let your heart rest in the knowledge that heaven is smiling upon you, for this blessing is not an empty promise but a living reality already unfolding, and as you step into it with faith, you will carry the evidence of God's joy over you in every part of your life, becoming a reflection of His kindness to others, and proving that when He says He is pleased with His children, He pours out gifts that transform their journey forever and lift them into the fullness of His love. Archangel Michael says, "The blessing that heaven is pouring into your life at this very moment is like a golden thread weaving through every season you have lived, connecting the broken pieces with the beautiful ones, and forming a pattern of grace so radiant that you will one day look back and realize nothing was wasted, not even the tears, not even the waiting. For everything has been leading to this hour when God has chosen to honor you with a transformation that reflects His happiness over the goodness in your heart. The Father has seen the quiet strength you carried in times when others could not understand the battles you faced, and He has treasured the faith that kept you moving even when your soul was weary, and now He has commanded the heavens to release over you a blessing that will not only restore what was lost but also give more than you could ever imagine. For His love is abundant and His mercy stretches far beyond what the human mind can measure, reaching into every hidden need and every unspoken desire. Archangel Michael assures you that this blessing comes with a wave of renewal, stirring your spirit to rise with fresh courage, awakening joy in your heart like a melody that cannot be silenced, and washing away the heaviness that once seemed impossible to overcome, for God is lifting you into a new place where peace is steady, where hope shines like morning light, and where your heart is strengthened daily by the certainty that you are not alone but surrounded by the presence of the One who loves you perfectly. There were moments in your journey when pain tried to convince you that you had been forgotten, when silence seemed endless and your prayers felt unanswered, yet even in those times heaven was working, angels were guarding your steps, and God's hand was gently guiding you toward this very season. And now you will see the fruit of that unseen guidance as blessings begin to appear in ways both small and great, reminding you that His promises are living truths and that His faithfulness never fails. This blessing carries with it restoration for your spirit and healing for your heart, but it also holds divine favor for your steps ahead, ensuring that the doors you need will open, the help you require will arrive, and the peace you long for will settle around you. For when God chooses to honor His children, He does so not in part but in fullness, making sure that every area of their life carries evidence of His goodness, and you will walk forward clothed in that goodness like a mantle of light. Archangel Michael says that God's joy over you is not a fleeting moment but an eternal truth, for He delights in you not only for what you have done but for who you are in His sight, and because of this delight, the blessing being released is a reflection of His love, meant to lift you higher, meant to strengthen your journey, and meant to remind you every single day that you are precious to Him, chosen by Him, and deeply covered by the mercy that flows from His heart. Type 444 if you believe in God's divine protection. As this blessing continues to unfold, you will notice how burdens you once thought permanent begin to lift, how fears that used to hold power over you begin to fade, and how courage you thought was gone begins to rise within you again, because the Spirit of God is breathing new life into your being, and as His presence fills you, your vision will expand, your hope will deepen, and your ability to walk boldly into tomorrow will become stronger than ever before. So before midnight, remain still in your spirit, for the blessing is being released even now, filling your life like rain upon dry ground, covering you with protection, guiding you with light, and assuring you that heaven is near. And as you move forward, you will carry this blessing not only for your own life but also as a testimony to others, showing them that God is faithful, that His love is true, and that when He delights in His children, He transforms their lives with a beauty that cannot be taken away. Archangel Michael says, "The blessing now entering your life is moving like a gentle river flowing from the throne of God, carrying within it treasures of peace, renewal, and joy that your heart has been longing for, and this river is not only cleansing the weariness of past seasons but also planting new seeds of hope that will bloom into beauty greater than you have ever seen. For heaven has declared that the time for sorrow has ended and the time for divine abundance has come. The Father has observed the way you have carried kindness even in silence, the way you extended love when no one returned it, and the way you chose to walk with faith even when the world around you tried to pull you down, and because of these moments, His joy over you has become like a radiant crown, and from that joy He has commanded blessings to be poured out. Blessings that will not only touch your spirit but also transform your daily life with harmony, strength, and the unmistakable evidence of His hand upon you. Archangel Michael speaks of restoration woven into this blessing, a restoration that will mend what was broken and return what was lost, not in the same measure but in greater fullness, for God never gives back only what was taken, He always multiplies with His grace, and you will find yourself surrounded by opportunities, relationships, and peace that prove His goodness, showing you that nothing has been wasted and that even in your trials He was preparing something greater than you dared to imagine. There were days when you carried burdens that seemed too heavy for your shoulders, and yet you continued to press forward, choosing to believe that God was still near, and those steps of faith, though small, were seen in heaven as powerful, for faith that persists in weakness shines brightly before God, and now the reward for that faith is unfolding. A reward that will fill your life with victories that cannot be explained by human effort but only by the grace of the Almighty who delights in you. Type "I believe" if you believe miracles are on the way. This blessing carries a light that will now shine upon your path, guiding you with clarity in moments when confusion once clouded your vision, and as this light grows, you will notice that decisions once difficult will become clear, and doors once hidden will suddenly open, for God has not only sent blessings to heal your past but also to guide your future, ensuring that every step you take from this moment on is marked by His wisdom, His protection, and His endless love. Archangel Michael reminds you that this is also a blessing of strength, not only strength for your body but strength for your heart and your mind, enabling you to rise above the voices of doubt, to silence the whispers of fear, and to move boldly into the calling God has placed before you, for the strength being given to you is not fragile but unshakable, rooted in the truth that you are chosen and carried by the One who holds the universe yet calls you His beloved. The Father delights in surrounding you with peace that the world cannot offer, and within this blessing there is a river of serenity flowing into your home, into your relationships, and into your innermost being, calming storms before they can rise and filling the atmosphere around you with the fragrance of heaven's love, and as this peace rests upon you, you will find that even in moments of challenge, your heart remains steady. Your spirit remains strong, and your faith continues to grow without fear. So before midnight, open your spirit wide, for heaven is releasing treasures that are meant not only for your present but also for your future, treasures that will shape the journey ahead with favor and light. And as you receive, remember that you are not only blessed for yourself but chosen to carry this light to others, to let the testimony of your life shine as proof that God is faithful, that His joy over His children is real, and that when He releases a blessing, it is eternal, powerful, and filled with unending love. Archangel Michael says, "The blessing being released upon you is moving like a wave of holy fire, not to consume or harm, but to purify, to strengthen, and to illuminate the path you are walking." And this wave comes directly from the heart of God, who has declared that your life will no longer be overshadowed by past struggles but lifted into a place where His goodness surrounds you like an endless embrace, carrying you into a season where hope is stronger than fear and peace is greater than every storm. The Father has seen the countless moments when you gave of yourself even when your own spirit was tired, when you shared love even though your heart was still healing, and when you chose to believe in His promises though you had no evidence before your eyes. And because of this unwavering faith, He is rejoicing over you, and from that joy He has sent forth a blessing that will wrap around your days like light, turning sorrow into strength, despair into expectation, and silence into songs of gratitude that will never fade. Archangel Michael reminds you that this blessing is not a single act of kindness from heaven but a steady flow that will continue to pour into your life, and within that flow is healing for wounds you thought you would carry forever, restoration for dreams you thought were gone, and provision for needs you could not meet on your own. For God is a Father who delights in giving abundantly, and when He chooses to bless, He does so with fullness that touches every area of life without limit. Type 333 to welcome peace into your heart. There were moments when you thought your prayers were lost in the air, but heaven heard them all, and not one word has been forgotten, for every cry rose like a seed planted in eternal soil, and though the waiting felt long, the harvest is now ready, and you will soon see the answers unfold, not in partial ways but in overwhelming abundance, reminding you that God is faithful to His children and that His timing, though often hidden, is always perfect and filled with purpose. This blessing carries with it favor that will surround you like a shield, ensuring that those who once stood against you will lose their hold, and those who are meant to walk with you will be drawn near, for the hand of God is aligning your relationships, your opportunities, and your steps so that everything begins to work together for good. And as this alignment takes place, you will notice doors opening where there were once walls, and peace settling where there was once confusion. Archangel Michael speaks of strength rising within you, not the strength that comes from human striving, but the strength that flows from the Spirit of God Himself, lifting you beyond fear, beyond doubt, and beyond weakness. And this strength will become your foundation as you face each new day with courage, knowing that no matter what lies ahead, you are held in the embrace of a love that never fails and never ends. A love that will guide you into victories you cannot yet imagine. The Father is filling your life with a new joy, a joy so steady that it will remain even in trials, a joy that will shine like a light in your eyes and a song in your soul, reminding you daily that you are not forgotten but cherished, not overlooked but chosen. And this joy will become a testimony to others, for they will see in you the evidence of God's blessing, and through your life they will learn of His faithfulness, His mercy, and His never-ending kindness. So before the midnight hour fades, let your spirit rest in quiet confidence, for heaven has spoken over you, and the blessing is already unfolding, filling your heart with peace, lifting your burdens, and guiding your every step, and as you move forward, you will carry the evidence of this moment, walking not as one uncertain but as one who knows they are deeply loved, powerfully protected, and eternally blessed by a God who rejoices in their life and has marked their path with the radiance of His glory. Archangel Michael says, "The blessing being poured upon you now is like the final note of a heavenly symphony, rising higher and brighter until it fills every corner of your existence with beauty, peace, and renewal, and this blessing comes not as a passing moment but as a lasting covenant from God who delights in you and has chosen to mark your life with the evidence of His endless love, ensuring that the journey ahead will be forever shaped by His goodness and His favor." The Father has seen the countless sacrifices you made without recognition, the love you gave without expecting return, and the faith you held even when silence seemed to stretch endlessly, and He treasures each of those moments as priceless offerings, and now in His joy He is answering with a blessing so complete that it will flow into every area of your life, touching your present with healing, your future with promise, and your spirit with a strength that will never be shaken. Type 222 if you trust that God is with you always. Archangel Michael declares that this blessing carries within it a mantle of protection, wrapping around you like the armor of light, ensuring that no darkness will overpower you and no storm will overtake you, and in this covering you will find the confidence to walk with peace, knowing that you are surrounded by the presence of God, and you are guarded by angels who stand ready to guide your steps into the fullness of all that has been prepared for you. There were seasons when it felt as if your efforts bore no fruit, when you wondered whether your kindness was forgotten or your prayers unheard, but heaven has kept every act, every word, every moment of faith stored in its eternal memory, and now the harvest of those seeds is being released, not in fragments but in overflowing abundance, for the Lord does not return in pieces what you gave in wholeness, but He multiplies it with His grace until it becomes more than you could ask or imagine. This blessing also carries restoration, not only for your spirit but for the dreams you once laid aside, for the relationships you thought would never heal, and for the hopes you once buried beneath disappointment, and as this restoration flows, you will see that nothing has been truly lost, for God has preserved every good thing meant for you, and in His timing He is returning them renewed, greater, and aligned perfectly with His purpose for your life. Archangel Michael assures you that the joy of God over you is not only for this moment but for every step forward, for He has chosen you to walk as a reflection of His kindness in the world, and the blessing you now receive will not end with you but will overflow through you, touching those around you, healing hearts that encounter your light, and inspiring faith in those who once doubted. For your life will become a testimony that God is faithful and that His mercy never fails. The Father delights in giving peace beyond human understanding, and within this blessing there is a deep calm that will guard your heart, steadying you in every trial and lifting you above every fear, so that your spirit remains unshaken no matter what arises, for His presence will be your constant companion, His word your anchor, and His love your shelter. And in this assurance you will live not in anxiety but in the quiet confidence of one who knows they are held securely by the Creator Himself. So as the midnight hour approaches, open your spirit fully and receive without hesitation, for the blessing is here, it is real, and it is yours, and from this day forward you will walk not as one searching but as one who has found favor in the sight of God, carrying His joy as your strength, His peace as your shelter, and His love as your everlasting promise. And with every step you take you will remember that heaven rejoices in you, that you are deeply chosen, and that your life has been forever transformed by His divine blessing. Archangel Michael says, "The blessing of God does not end at a single moment or even with a single season, for His love is eternal, unending, and ever-flowing, and now a fresh wave of divine grace is moving toward you, bringing with it even greater peace, deeper healing, and a renewal so complete that your spirit will rise with a strength you never thought possible, for the Father is not finished with you, and He is preparing to surround your life with abundance that continues to grow day after day. The Father has seen the way you walk forward even when you do not fully understand, the way you trust Him when the answers are delayed, and the way you continue to keep kindness alive in a world that sometimes tries to crush gentle hearts, and it is because of this steadfastness that He delights in you more and more, and out of His delight He is sending blessings that will go far beyond what you have already received. For His generosity is without measure, and His joy over you has no limit. Type 111 if you believe miracles are near. Archangel Michael reminds you that this next blessing is layered with wisdom, for there will be choices before you in the coming days, and God is already placing clarity in your spirit so that you will know which path is right, which door to walk through, and which voices to trust, and as you follow His leading, you will find yourself in places of opportunity and favor that you never thought possible. For heaven has already prepared the ground for your steps, and angels will walk beside you as guardians of your journey. This blessing also carries with it restoration that touches generations, for what you receive now will not remain only with you but will flow into your family, into those you love, and into the hearts of people connected to your life, bringing healing where there has been division, bringing peace where there has been unrest, and bringing light where there has been heaviness. For God's favor is never confined to one person alone but spreads like fire, blessing all who are near those whom He has chosen. Archangel Michael speaks of a joy rising within you that will silence the weight of discouragement, for God is replacing every heavy memory with hope, taking the sting out of every wound, and showing you that what once hurt you will no longer have power over you, because His love has rewritten your story, and in that love you will discover new reasons to rejoice, new reasons to give thanks, and new reasons to walk forward with faith that grows stronger each day. The Father delights in giving strength for the future, and in this blessing you are receiving the courage to believe in tomorrow again, courage to let go of fear, and courage to see yourself through His eyes as chosen, valuable, and deeply loved, for He is not only restoring your past but shaping your destiny with His hand, making sure that every step ahead is filled with purpose, meaning, and opportunities that reflect the goodness of His heart. This blessing also carries peace that will rest on your mind, calming the racing thoughts that tried to steal your rest, lifting the weight of worry that lingered too long, and covering you with serenity so steady that you will sleep with confidence and wake with hope, for God is surrounding you like a shield, ensuring that no fear can break into the peace He has declared over your life, and this peace will become your strength, allowing you to stand unshaken no matter what may arise. So as this new hour unfolds, receive this blessing with faith, knowing that it is not the end but the continuation of heaven's love poured into your life, for the Father's joy over you grows each day, and His blessings will never cease. And as you carry this truth in your heart, remember that you are chosen, you are cherished, and you are covered by a divine love that will follow you forever, transforming your days into a living testimony of God's faithfulness, His mercy, and His never-failing promise to remain with you always. Amen.